Unfair advantage. Do you ever feel that a company, a competitor, is able to do far better than you when you're just struggling to get along? That they're able to deliver better products, better services, even better customer service. Do you ever feel that your colleagues, co-workers, have an easier time getting ahead? Do you ever feel that somebody else has accomplished far more than you in far less amount of time? It's okay. I feel this way now. It's a very common feeling for people who are trying to get ahead. So, and people, even the speakers here, I was talking to them upstairs, and they also feel the same way, including the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Gupta himself. This is Rogers, Arkansas in 1962. What you see behind you is Walmart's first store. It was opened up in a town of only 5,700 people. Sam Walton had a big vision when he founded Walmart. He wanted to achieve greatness. He wanted to build a lot of stores. He wanted to bring his products the cheapest possible way ever. He was far more obsessed with it than his competition. During the 60s and the 70s, nobody paid attention to him. Sears, Kmart, they were leading retailers of the world at that time, and they could care less about Sam Walton and his shenanigans coming out of a small podunk town, Rogers. But Sam Walton persisted. He kept opening up stores in small towns all over the country. In 1975, he was the first person ever to use a computer in a retail business operations. He wanted to be the most efficient company ever to run his business in retail. 1975, I want you to understand this. Microsoft Windows wasn't even launched till 1985. He was 10 years ahead of his time. He was using computers then to be efficient at business, to beat out his competition. In 1980s, they developed a vendor-managed inventory software system. That's why there's a picture of Distribution Center General, because this is where the real innovation happened. In the vendor-managed inventory software, Sam's goal was very simple. He wanted to know where inventory was at any given time. He was looking at problems in a unique way that his competitors were not. He wanted to know what was in production at his vendor, what was on the factory floor waiting to be loaded, what was in transit, what was at his warehouse and receiving, versus what is in storage, what is in store, and what is being sold. He was obsessed with it. And hence he created a computer system in the 80s, well again, before Windows ever came. And he forced his top vendors to get it too. And he kept persistent. In 1990, Walmart displaced Sears as the #1 retailer in US. 19 years later, since then, Walmart is not only the #1 retailer still in US, they're the #1 retailer in the world. They're not just the #1 retailer, they have the highest revenue of any company in the world. Understand, all this started in 1962 with a man with one singular vision of starting a big retail store chain. He went from one store about 57 years ago to 11,766 stores in 23 countries. It does not happen by accident. It does not happen by luck. It doesn't come from money. He didn't have a billionaire father. None of these things. He was persistence. $500 billion in revenue. More than GDP of 210 countries. There are only 235 or so. 2.2 million employees. They employ more people than there is active workforce in 100 countries. What was Sam's unfair advantage? He discovered it in the 80s when he got obsessed with supply chain and its optimization. That's why he set himself apart from the competition. He just took off. And he's kept at it. They are so efficient at supply chain that wherever in the world, there's no university in the world who talks about supply chain and does not talk about Walmart. In fact, the world's biggest army, the world's most well-funded army, as part of their military training program, the generals and the colonels are sent to Walmart as part of military training program. Colonel Betty, who was running the Kuwait distribution depot for the army during wartime, he went to Walmart to get training before he was ever placed in that position. Sam Walton has a quote, He said, people thought we got big by putting big stores in small towns. He's like, what we really got big by doing is by replacing inventory with information. They were looking into big data and machine learning 40 years before this was even a talked about term in Silicon Valley. Talking about machine learning, talking about big data. This is Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix. Reed Hastings once said, this is my goal. I want you to turn on Netflix, and I only want to show you 4 shows. And these are the only 4 shows that you actually want to watch. Netflix has been obsessed with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics to predict what does the consumer want. And they're very good at it. They're #1 media delivery company in the world. In 2017, Reed Hastings was interviewed by CNBC. And Reed says, Amazon is very scary. And the interviewer goes like, why? He's like, Amazon defies every common business sense there is. We are taught in all the business schools, be it Harvard, Kellogg, Walton, anywhere. You go to any board member of any publicly traded company, they say one thing. Do one thing and one thing right. He's like, we're a media delivery company, and we are the best at it in the world. But here comes Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Not only they are the biggest retailer in the world, online retailer, in every single country that they are in, they also carry the world's most internet traffic to Amazon Web Services. I want you to understand this. It is not Facebook, it is not Google, it is Amazon who carries 40% of world's internet. Not only that, Amazon is in healthcare, Amazon is in insurance, Amazon is in lending, they have their own cargo plane service, they have their own cargo trucking service, they have freight forwarding service, the list goes on. They're even making toilet paper in diapers. And they're winning in most of them, if not all of them. So what is the unfair advantage of Jeff Bezos? The unfair advantage of Jeff Bezos is that he has the uncanny ability to create senior leadership teams who are focused around corporate discipline of winning. The man likes to win. And as he has grown his company to 500,000 people, he has been able to instill that winning attitude as a requirement for all these people who are leading all the different divisions. It's harder than you think. If you operate a company of 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, how hard is it for you to have them walk in the same direction? Not just walk, run to win. This is why Jeff Bezos has been able to become the world's richest man in 25 years. Because there's unfair advantage of being able to put together amazing leadership teams who focus on winning and create a corporate discipline regarding winning. Michael Phelps, everybody knows him here. The world's most famous, the most accomplished Olympiad ever. This is how Michael Phelps looked when he wins a race. He knows it, that he won, he killed it, he smashes the water, and he knows he has dominated. He has 28 Olympic medals, 22 gold. The next best person who has the most Olympic gold medals is number 9. Didn't he just do twice more than he's even more than twice ahead than anybody else in a league of his own. This is Michael Phelps after he finished a 2008 Olympics event of 200-meter butterfly race. Right after he finished. You see, notice something on his face. He's worried. He doesn't know where he is. He's like, what happened here? As soon as Michael Phelps got onto the starting block and he jumped into the water, water started to fill into his goggles, and he couldn't see from left to right or straight. He didn't know where his competition was. Now keep in mind, it's a 200-meter race, right? That means the Olympic swimming pool is only 50 meters. He has to go up, do a flip, come back, do a flip, go back, predict where the wall is, do a flip again, and then come back to win. So this is why, since he couldn't see, he didn't know where the competition was, he thought he was messing up. He probably did. Right? He finishes the race, regardless, swims his heart out, and this is the final result. Not only he wins it, not only he gets the gold medal, the man breaks the world record. This is the day in swimming known as the day Michael Phelps went blind. Now imagine this race by competitors who he's competing against is literally won in milliseconds. Millisecond is this. He puts his hand here, the competition hand comes here. The race is literally won in this much after you've swum 200 meters. This is a millisecond difference, right? And not only he won, he broke the world record. So what was his unfair advantage? Since the age of 7, Michael Phelps was taught by his coach. He was told, Michael, every night before you go to sleep, I want you to watch a movie. I want you to visualize in this movie of how you're going to get onto the jumping block tomorrow, how you're going to dive into the water. I want you to imagine taking your first stroke. I want you to imagine taking your second stroke. I want you to imagine going to the end, doing a flip, coming back and winning the race. For the next 5,000 nights in a row, Michael Phelps has been watching this movie of his races that are coming up. There's a discipline. Before he ever got onto that jumping block that day, he had visualized this race. He had actually already won this race 20 times in his head. He knew it didn't matter if he was blind, he was going to win this race. And he was blind. And he still broke it. Talk about discipline. Talk about visualization. This was his unfair advantage. It doesn't come easy. It requires hard work, persistence, dedication. A price 99.99% are not willing to pay. Us. We are a small company compared to any of these Goliaths. Today, we ship millions of products every year, hundreds of containers. We have spread across over 100 categories, and we have multiple divisions. Sounds big, sounds fancy, but frankly, there is a struggle every day. We still fight to stay ahead. 10 years ago, I started this with nothing. I don't come from money. I didn't have any father's money, and I didn't have any family money to help me start this. But what I did have is an amazing supporting environment. I had amazing mentors. I have met amazing people along the way who have picked me up, lifted me up, and when I was down, they told me keep going. But that was, though it is an unfair advantage, that was not it. Competition doesn't care about that, right? What we came up with was to make our own supply chain efficient. We wrote our own custom algorithm software to reduce the shipping fees by 5%. Now 5% doesn't sound like a lot, right? But when you're shipping hundreds of containers, you save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? And we're able to reduce our carbon footprint at the same time. And much like Walmart, we pass those savings on to our customers, like Walmart. That being said, that has kept us ahead in some time. In some other division where we sell multi-million dollars worth of goods on Amazon, we also manage other people's Amazon businesses. Again, only multi-million dollar businesses. The unfair advantage that we bring to them and to ourselves is we look at data, look at machine learning. We have server farms running, gathering terabytes of data every single day on knowing what is going on in the marketplace, how to generate more traffic, how to get the cheapest traffic, how to increase profitability for our customers, how to make them be more successful, how to reduce costs. Terabytes of data is gathered every day, and we have hired Ivy League data scientists in-house to help us evaluate this data. Anchor is a company on Amazon You've probably bought their cable or charger at some point. Anchor is an independent business. They sell over $1 billion worth of goods on Amazon. What is their unfair advantage? There are many. One of them is they are using server farms at their disposal. They hired a team of Google engineers to help them run their business. Every day, they are also compiling, collating, computing terabytes of data in order to stay ahead. It doesn't happen by accident. You have to work at it, you have to work hard at it. Then again, no unfair advantage lasts forever. In our own example, we had covered a very successful product line a few years back. We were booking millions of dollars worth of POs on this. And we got so busy booking purchase orders and delivering product, we forgot to innovate. Our competition saw our unfair advantage, they improved upon it, and then they introduced a better product to our customer. And they got ahead. And then we were just playing the catch-up game. Luckily, it wasn't a core product line for our business, otherwise we would be out of business. Walmart, once they figured out the vendor managed inventory software system in the 80s, the automation, big data, machine learning, all their competition caught on by the 90s. Why are none of those companies making $500 billion today? Because Walmart innovates every year. Every year they're fighting to stay ahead. Every year they're in a state of panic. How do I stay ahead? How do I get ahead? Jeff Bezos, Amazon. Do you know there are hundreds of people Amazon has hired sitting in Chennai in India? They're constantly scanning their competitor's website. They're mapping it. Be it Amazon Australia, Amazon Germany, Amazon Italy, Amazon UK, Amazon US, Amazon India, Amazon Canada. They have teams dedicated to every marketplace. And this team's job simply is to continually keep scanning what their competition is up to, what pricing they have, and they want to lower it for themselves. What new products they have launched, and Amazon wants to launch it for themselves. Though they are a market leader, they have the #1 traffic in every country for any online retail store, every country that they are in. #1 retail traffic store in the world, in every country they are in. Yet, they do not take that crown for granted. Every day, they fight to stay ahead. This is really what it takes. It's a constant battle. How do you discover your unfair advantage? How did these people discover their unfair advantage? It's really not that complicated, frankly. You have to be willing to do what others are not. Walmart took a page out of the playbook of Carnegie Steel. And it took a page out of the playbook of Toyota in the 80s. Carnegie Steel was a company in late 1800s, 100 years before Walmart. They came up with the cheapest way to make steel, Andrew Carnegie. He was an immigrant in US, used to work on the docks for 5 cents an hour. When he died, he was the richest man in the world. Even with today's number, if you convert his wealth today, it will be $324 billion, more than anybody in the world, even Jeff Bezos. He gave 90% of it away, but that's irrelevant. But what he did was not only he came up with the cheapest way to make steel, what he did was the biggest problem of selling steel is transportation. It's a heavy piece of product. And he's got to move it across the country to his customers, all over. Supply chain was a big issue. He started laying down direct railways between his factory and his customer's factory. He's like, don't worry, buy from me, I'll lay a railroad coming straight to you. I'll be the fastest, the cheapest, even to ship, not just to make. Because he knew once he came up with the cheapest way to make steel, competition will catch on. Walmart took learning from them and made their supply chain efficient. Walmart took learning from lean manufacturing practice of Toyota and learned how to make their supply chain efficient. Carnegie Steel, here's the thing, right? This company is over a century ago I'm talking about. Google took a page from their playbook. What could Google learn from a steel company over 100 years ago? I will tell you. The reason Google got ahead, there were many search engines. Google was not the first one, or the second, or the third. In fact, they were a late entrant to the market. But today, if you want to search, you don't say, hey, go search it online. You say, Google it. Eric Schmidt the CEO of Google, he started laying fiber all over US. His goal was one thing: I'll be the fastest company in the world to get my customer what they need. They started laying their own fiber all over the world, not just US. And the dark fiber is what they call it. Google dark fiber is all over. That's why you see the search engines giving results before you even finish typing it. Why? Because they laid their own fiber. Yahoo didn't do this. Alta Vista didn't do this. Alt Jeeves didn't do this. But this was the Eric Schmidt's play that he took from Carnegie Steel. Lay a direct line to your customer. And that's how he found his unfair advantage. Jeff Bezos was not the first person to put together winning teams. He took a page out of the playbook of Jack Welch, the famous CEO from 1980s of GE, who created a corporate discipline of winning. Jeff Bezos simply copied a page from Jack Welch's playbook. And then he also learned from Walmart how to make his supply chain efficient. Nelson Mandela, social activist, world leader, really, impacted millions and millions of lives, inspires people to this date. How did he get ahead? How did he find his unfair advantage to be able to be such a influence to everybody? He took inspiration from Gandhi. They were good friends. They communicated often. Not only that, he went back in history 2,200 years ago. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor of Rome. He wrote this book, Meditations. Nelson Mandela said he must have read that book over 50 times while he was in jail for 27 years. And influenced his philosophy of life greatly. That was his unfair advantage. Gandhi himself used to communicate regularly with Leo Tolstoy to help him become what he became. Here's the thing. History repeats itself. If you want to find your unfair advantage, you just have to look around. Look cross-discipline, look in different industries. It is all there. It has already been done over and over again. You have to have the dedication to look far enough, deep enough. Don't just read articles. Go deeper. Talk to these people. Learn from across industries. It is there to be found. But here's the thing. Here's why not everybody has it. You know why not everybody has the unfair advantage? Because it's hard work. And sometimes what you try doesn't work and you have to pick yourself back up again and keep going. You have to try 100 things before one thing that will prove to be your unfair advantage. And it costs money, and it costs time, and it costs energy. There is no substitute for hard work, grit, and persistence. Thank you.